Hi golfers, Nick here from Golf Tech Singapore. It's Friday, so welcome to another lesson on Golf Tip. This week on Golf Tips, we're going to continue with the 10-word theme. So this is actually part 4 of a 5-part series. So I suggest watching part 1, 2 and 3 first before you watch this part. So over the first 3 parts, we've talked about the 10 words, where they came from, what they are and how they relate to the golf swing. So we're going to continue with that theme. So we've talked about where the weight should be, weight staying forward, the shoulder down, so that's the left shoulder moving down in the backswing, the right shoulder in the follow through, that's keeping our angle to the ground by turning our shoulders on an angle or tilting our shoulders. Also we talked about the hand path, which is the hands moving inwards around the body in the backswing, and the follow through. So we've gone weight forward, shoulder down, hands in. So today's lesson is going to continue with that theme. We're going to move on to the next 2 words that you need to practice to improve your golf. So these next 2 words are one of the most important parts of the golf swing, and it's one of the biggest issues that I see in golfers and hitting the golf ball. It's one of the biggest problems that they have, and it's to do with the arms. So one of the biggest issues I see with golfers is they come in to hit this golf ball, they start flexing their arms, bending their elbows, pulling them apart, and that affects the low point of the golf swing. So as I set up to the golf ball here, my arm and shaft, they form a radius of the swing. I've talked about this in other videos, but basically it's like a radius of a circle. Now this radius, if I was to bend this arm, I'm pulling that apart. As you hit the golf ball, you want to maintain this relationship of having a straight left arm. The golfers that bend their arms, they're going to have to make other compensations to hit the golf ball. This next 2 words are to do with the arms, and it's keeping them as straight for as long as possible. Now, I have a really good training aid that I use with golfers to help with this, because technically they both don't stay straight throughout the course of the swing. There will be some flexing and bending of the right arm in the backswing and the left arm in the follow through. Roughly this right arm will bend to around 90 degrees in the backswing and then straighten in the downswing, and then the left arm will bend in the finish. At the point of impact and just after, both these arms should be pretty straight. So to help golfers that struggle with keeping their arms straight or pulling their elbows apart throughout the course of the swing, I use the Tour Striker Smart Ball. You may have seen this training aid. Some of the best golfers use this in the world. One of the best training aids to help with the arms, keeping the structure of the arms. So if I place this around my neck, you see how the ball drops forward. If I put that between my arms, the idea of using this training aid here is to try and keep this ball there throughout the course of the swing. Now, as I explained, there will be some flexing of the right arm and the left arm in the finish, but the point being, my elbows are staying the same distance apart. So if you struggle keeping your arms straight, having a ball like this in between them is really good training aid, and just trying to keep the elbows the same distance apart throughout the course of the swing is a really good way to try and achieve that. One of the reasons why it's important that all of these parts of this series are linked together is because to keep your arms straight, if I didn't have my weight forward as I came into impact, if I had my weight on my back leg and kept my arms straight, I'll be hitting behind the golf ball. And the same thing is if I made a backswing, turn my shoulders more level to the ground, that would also pull my upper centre or my head behind the golf ball. That would be another reason why I could hit behind the golf ball. Just keeping your arms straight is not important. That's why it's important to watch all the parts of this series. So I'm going to hit a shot now, then we're going to take a look at my swing, and just to show you guys what we're looking for in the golf swing. So weight forward, shoulder down, hands in, arms straight. So I kept that ball there throughout the course of my swing. The shot felt pretty good, as you can see on the screen there. So I felt like I had my weight forward at setup, felt like I moved my left shoulder down in the backswing, felt like I moved my hands inwards, and I made pretty good contact. So let's sit down now, take a look at my swing in a little bit of detail. So we're going to take a look at the swing here and just show you guys how the elbows don't pull apart throughout the course of the swing, and some of the checkpoints we're going to look at are sort of linked into the previous parts to this series. When we take a look at my swing here, you'll see that I have a circle around the head, a circle on my left shoulder, a circle on my knee, and also line down my trail leg, and that's to show you where the weight is that we talked about in the first part to this series. So you can see I've got the smart ball there between my arms. So if I put a circle between my arms here, that's sort of representing where that ball is. If you're measuring your golf swing at the point of impact, that circle shouldn't get any bigger. And I teach a lot of golfers that will flex the arms as they hit the golf ball, and generally that's because of where the weight is. If you look at my swing here, as I move through impact, you'll see how I've moved my lower body weight forward of where it started. So that's me pushing my weight through, and my head is very centered at this point. These are two key areas to look at to help with the low point and the consistency of the golf swing. Golfers that flex their arms, they generally have too much weight on their back leg, or they've unhinged the wrist too early, or their head is behind where it started, and that can lead to the low point being behind, which results in fat and thin shots. So generally the reason that golfers flex their arms is because their low point would be behind the golf ball, so they're having to bend their arms to hit the golf ball. So it's very important that you get all of these parts together in the golf swing. Let's take a look at my swing as a whole here. So we can take it back to position 1, which is setup, and I'm going to play the swing out so you can see. So from setup, top of the backswing, you can see my left arm is very straight there. I see a lot of golfers start flexing this arm by this point. Another good point would be that my hips have turned inside of that line, so I'm not swaying my body. My head stays pretty centered. So as I come down here, you'll see how my low body weight moves progressively forward as I rotate. Keep my arms straight, keep both arms pretty straight there through impact, all the way through to the finish. I'll keep that ball there. So you can see throughout the course of the golf swing there, I still managed to create good power, and I didn't flex my arms, and that's so important when you're playing golf and you're practicing. Just trying to keep the arm straight is not always enough. You need to move the body in the correct way. You need to keep the weight forward. You need to move the shoulder down. You need to keep the hands working inwards around the body to help with the curve of the golf ball and to create power. So you have to combine all of these words into building the golf swing. So golfers, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't already, please follow me on my other social media platforms, and we'll see you again next week for part 5 of the 10 words.